So when you say, do I have to ride it out? To some degree, yes, but you have a lot of say in how. What's more important, that's kind of empirical information, but what's more important is the question you ask about what am I missing? The reason that you're finding yourself, and a lot of people do have the same experience, why you're finding yourself with this particular milieu and dilemma you're describing, why you're finding yourself somewhat in a mouse wheel where it just keeps coming and coming, and it's not, it doesn't seem to be moving through perhaps like other experiences, other rites of passage in your life, is that you have an agenda here. You have an attachment. There's still part of you, a strong part of you, that wants and demands justice. And that is what is holding the full transformation in abeyance from you. And I know perhaps you may not always recognize that or see it consciously, perhaps not even at all, or perhaps you think you've moved through that, but that's not the case. Because the power of forgiveness lies wholly and completely within the self. It has nothing to do with the perpetrator, nothing whatsoever. Whether the person smashed your car, burnt your house down, murdered your spouse, did whatever. I'm not going to sit here and name ungodly acts, but it has forgiveness, the power of forgiveness and the potential of forgiveness and the effect of forgiveness lies wholly and completely within the self. It has nothing to do with anyone on the planet, and certainly not your perpetrators. So one can only look to oneself when saying, well, there's still more, there's still more. So you need to look only to yourself and see what is in the way. And what I'm showing you is in the way here is an attachment you have to wanting justice. And that justice comes in several ways. It depends on the crime, it depends on the offense, it depends on many, many factors, too numerous to list. But some of the forms, quote unquote, of justice can be demanding an apology, demanding a confession. Some people will, in their mind, and for a lot of people it's actually conscious, but for those for whom it's not conscious, it's very powerfully in the unconscious. So much so that it can override all your conscious efforts and keep that full breakthrough from happening. But what is so strong in the conscious and unconscious is this demand for the apology, the confession, and in some cases the restitution, which could be jail time, being exposed, having others find out about it, being hurt in similar fashion, and it varies from person to person. And many people don't even know they have these agendas, but those are the three main areas. Some people have enough capacity for forgiveness whereby if they just heard the confession, that would be enough. And then, boom, they let go and they can forgive and move on. Other people need the apology, and it needs to be heartfelt. If they get an apology and it's insincere, they're still bitter and angry and still, gunning for the person. And other people need the confession, the apology, and the restitution. If they got the most heartfelt apology and a full accountability of confession, of admitting the crime, the offense, they still would not be satisfied and would not let go of the grudge, of the hatred, the want for revenge, until what they termed or deemed justice was served in the form of restitution, be it exposure, public confession, public humiliation, jail time, whatever, or a like or similar act happening to that person. Again, now, on the level of the absolute, that's not what we're really here for. Because there's still, and I mean this with full compassion and empathy for those of you, and I include myself, who have experienced crimes against you, hate crimes of whatever form, and I myself have had many, and I could list them here for the rest of our time together, seriously. So, and I, like others, had difficulty moving through certain ones, perpetrations that were committed against me, crimes, thefts, being beaten, I was kidnapped as a child and tortured by a street gang. I was raped twice early on in life. It's hard for many people to forgive and forget those things. But that's our job. We all have an infinite capacity to love and forgive, the same capacity that the Creator has, because we are spun from pure love by the Creator as the Creator in God's image. So we all have that capacity. to forgive. What stands in the way is our agendas. And I won't repeat them all again because I've repeated them a couple times. But those things I pointed out in those different categories, to whatever degree and mix those factors apply to each person, that's what's standing in the way. And if you want to make the full breakthrough, you who asked the question and anyone who's listening, examine there within yourself and be honest. And if you're not ready or willing, then fine. That's, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just simply exposing the truth, and what you do with the truth is up to you. But that's what's in the way of fully forgiving. And for those of you who've never heard me say it before, the etymology of forgiveness is, if you break the word down into its roots, it means to return to giving love as before. So for is short for before, give is the act of giving, and ness is forgiveness, the act of, the quality of. So the quality of giving love as before said incident happened. So true forgiveness means that you have an experience inside of you as though it never happened, and you restore the full unconditional loving of another human being. And we all have the choice and the power to do that in every moment. And it's up to us to engage that and enact that or not. But what I will say is the degree to which you do that, any and all of you, is to the degree that you find freedom, liberation, self-love, and an inner peace that you never dreamed possible. The wanting and longing for all those other things never will bring happiness, because even though you think you might have made peace with the perpetrator, or even if that perpetrator is out of your life, you might think it's clean. It's not, because now you're still grappling with and at the effects of the karma that you are now embroiled in. When we do not choose that unconditional love through unconditional forgiveness, we unwittingly become embroiled in the very karma of the act itself, and it has its hooks in you to whatever degree. And by choosing true forgiveness and stepping back into unconditional love, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of the perpetrator, we become freed, we become divested of the karma of the event, and this amazing energy comes into us that's of self-love and self-forgiveness and divine self-effulgence. It's sublime, it's supreme, and more of that keeps happening. It's very, very powerful. I cannot overestimate that enough. So thank you for that question. That question virtually applies to every human being on the planet. I don't think there's a person on the planet who has never had a perpetration committed against her or himself, and or who has never felt hurt or anger or grief toward another human being for something that happened, directly or indirectly, wittingly or unwittingly. So thank you for that really, really potent and important question. Thank you so much. Hope that was helpful.